Crown Princess Mary of Denmark attends a panel discussion in Aalborg. Princess Charlene of Monaco attends a luncheon in Monacoville. Queen Sonja of Norway hosts a luncheon on the occasion of International Women's Day in Oslo. And Queen Rania of Jordan shares a video from Princess Iman's henna party in Oman. All this and much more coming up next on your Royal Daily News. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Alexandra, and this is your Royal Daily News for March 8th, 2023. In Oman, Her Majesty Queen Rania of Jordan released a video of Her Royal Highness Princess Iman bint Abdullah II of Jordan's henna party last evening, hosted by Her Majesty the Queen at Al-Husseiniya Palace. Guests in attendance during last evening's beautiful gathering included Her Royal Highness Princess Sarwat Al-Hassan of Jordan, Her Royal Highness Princess Muna Al-Hussein of Jordan, the bride's grandmother and the mother of His Majesty the King, Her Royal Highness Princess Rim Al-Ali of Jordan, the wife of His Royal Highness Prince Ali Al-Hussein of Jordan, brother of His Majesty the King, Her Royal Highness Princess Aisha bint Al-Hussein of Jordan, the bride's aunt and sister of King Abdullah II of Jordan, Her Royal Highness Princess Zin bint Al-Hussein of Jordan, Her Royal Highness Princess Sarah bint Faisal of Jordan, Her Royal Highness Princess Aisha bint Faisal of Jordan, Miss Rajwa bint Khalid bin Musad bin Saif bin Abdul Aziz Al Saif, the fiancée of His Royal Highness Crown Prince Al-Hussein bin Abdullah II of Jordan, as well as other extended family members and friends. During last evening's celebrations, gifts were presented, traditional music played as guests congratulated Princess Iman on her upcoming nuptials, and of course delicious traditional Jordanian food was served. Her Majesty the Queen also gave a beautiful speech to her firstborn daughter, Princess Iman, which made guests smile, laugh, and, well, become a bit misty-eyed. In her social media post this morning, Her Majesty the Queen said, quote, "So much love in one room, with friends and family at Iman's henna party yesterday," end quote. Princess Iman will marry Mr. Jamel Jimmy Alexander Thermodis on Sunday, March 12, 2023 in Amman, Jordan. Wishing the beautiful couple much happiness, love, light, and many blessings. On the occasion of International Women's Day, Her Majesty the Queen sent a message stating, quote, "Forever proud of the determined and inspirational women in Jordan and beyond. Happy International Women's Day," end quote. In Amman this morning, His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan received letters of credence from newly appointed ambassadors to Jordan at Al-Bosman Palace. The newly appointed ambassadors are from the United Arab Emirates, the Philippines, Turkey, South Korea, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and the Holy See. His Majesty the King also accepted the credentials of non-resident ambassadors from the countries of Ghana, Estonia, and Finland. In the afternoon, His Majesty the King participated in a meeting with Jordanian women entrepreneurs on the occasion of International Women's Day at Al-Bosman Palace. During the meeting, His Majesty the King expressed his pride in the role and achievements of Jordanian women, stressing that Jordan cannot move forward in the political, economic, and administrative modernization tracks without the active engagement of women. His Majesty the King also highlighted the importance of women-led entrepreneurial projects in improving the livelihoods of families and women, in addition to enabling women to enter the labor market in various sectors. Meanwhile, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Al-Hussein bin Abdullah II of Jordan met with young activists in the northern Jordan Valley this morning. During today's meeting, the Crown Prince spoke about the importance of the activists' role in the northern Jordan Valley, praising them for their initiatives in various fields, specifically in agriculture, tourism, engineering, volunteering, education, content industry, and entrepreneurship. In Madrid, His Majesty King Felipe VI of Spain held a military audience this morning at Palacio Real de Madrid with 11 senior non-commissioned officers from the Army, 5 from the Navy, and 1 from the Marine Corps, 5 from the Air and Space Army, 2 from the Civil Guard, and 1 from the Military Music Corps, who have been recently appointed to assume command of different military units. Thereafter, His Majesty the King held an audience with 5 colonels from the Army, 5 Navy captains, 5 colonels from the Air and Space Army, 2 colonels from the Civil Guard, and 1 colonel from the Military Health Corps, who were recently appointed to assume command of their military units. In Monacoville, Her Serene Highness Princess Charlene of Monaco attended a luncheon organized by the Minister of the State of the Principality of Monaco, Mr. Pierre Dartot, on the occasion of International Women's Day. Guests attending today's luncheon included Mr. Gareth Whitstock, brother of the Princess and board member of the Princess Charlene Foundation, representatives from the Comité Droits des Femmes, and Monegasque government officials. Held under the theme Women and Sport, Minister Dartot gave a speech noting that in Monaco, the defense of women's rights has been, quote, at the heart of the Principality's priorities for many years, end quote. Minister Dartot also paid homage to women who, around the world, fight for their rights and to make their voices heard, sometimes at the cost of their lives, referring, among other things, to the situations in Afghanistan, Iran, and Ukraine. At the end of his speech, Minister Dartot, quote, expressed his conviction that associating young people was indispensable to building a more equal society, and that this year's theme, Women and Sport, chosen by the March 8th Committee for the Promotion and Protection of Women's Rights, demonstrated the Principality's commitment to humanistic values and universal wear by sport, end quote. In Brussels, Their Majesties King Philippe and Queen Mathilde of the Belgians hosted a luncheon at Château de Laeken on the occasion of International Women's Day for influential Belgian women who have, quote, made their mark in society, end quote. Meanwhile, Their Majesties King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima of the Netherlands continued their state visit to Slovakia. The day began with Their Majesties on the occasion of International Women's Day participating in a discussion with young people about gender equality and women's rights. Thereafter, Their Majesties held a meeting with the Speaker of the Parliament, Mr. Boris Kohler, at Bratislava Castle. Later in the morning, Their Majesties attended the Future is Now Business Forum. The forum gathered Dutch and Slovakian innovative entrepreneurs to exchange ideas and opportunities in the fields of sustainability, health, and the circular economy. During the meeting, several agreements were signed to further strengthen the cooperation between companies and organizations from the Netherlands and Slovakia. At noon, and well, it's lunchtime, and I'm pretty sure everybody's hungry at this point, the Prime Minister of Slovakia hosted a luncheon in honor of Their Majesty's state visit. An hour or so later, Their Majesties visited an LGBTQIA+ cafe, where last October 12, 2022, 2 innocent people were murdered in front of the cafe, simply due to their sexual orientation. Whilst there, Their Majesties met with the victims' relatives and one who survived the attack. The day ended with a reception with members of the Dutch community living in Slovakia. In the evening, Their Majesties hosted a return concert at the National Theatre for the President of Slovakia to say thank you for her warm hospitality. In Esbjerg Harbor, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Frederik of Denmark attended the launch of Project Greensand's first storage of CO2 in the Danish part of the North Sea, quote, thus marking the world's first cross-border offshore CO2 storage intended to mitigate climate change, end quote. According to the Danish Royal Court, CO2 storage is a powerful tool in the fight against climate change, and it simply works by capturing CO2 directly from a cogeneration plant or other places that emit a lot of CO2. Quote, the CO2 is then stored in liquid form and can subsequently be pumped down into layers of sandstone that have held oil and gas for millions of years. Expectations for the project are high, and in the year 2030, Project Greensand can store up to 8 million tons of CO2 per year. This corresponds to the discharge from approximately 725,000 Danes per year, or more than 13% of Denmark's annual CO2 emissions. The Danish subsoil, with its many sandstone formations in the subsoil of the North Sea, is suitable for storing CO2. There is actually room to store all the CO2 that Danish society has historically emitted, and more. The Danish underground is estimated to be able to store the next 500 years of CO2 emissions from Denmark at the current emission level. End quote. Meanwhile, Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Mary of Denmark participated in the Gender Diversity Roundtable meeting on the occasion of International Women's Day held at the Boston Consulting Group in Copenhagen. The Gender Diversity Roundtable, GDR, hosted by the UN Women and the Boston Consulting Group, is a coalition of leaders from the private sector, academia, and civil society working to create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive Denmark. Held under the theme Women Retention and Advancement, this morning's discussions focused on the latest research and insights on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as, quote, concrete solutions and learnings from members of the GDR, end quote. In the afternoon, the Crown Princess attended a panel discussion at Aalborg University on the occasion of International Women's Day. During the event, the panel discussed, quote, equality in Denmark, and debated how we remove the cultural and structural barriers that create inequality between the sexes, end quote. In Oslo, Her Majesty Queen Sonja of Norway hosted a luncheon on the occasion of International Women's Day to honor some of the many women who have been at the forefront of Norwegian society and who have, quote, shaped our shared history, end quote. Guests in attendance included women from politics and administration, business, defense, and civil society, academia, media, sport, and culture. According to the Norwegian Royal Court, guests come from, quote, different religious and political backgrounds, and they come from different parts of the country and age groups, end quote. In Stockholm, Their Majesties King Carl Gustaf and Queen Silvia of Sweden hosted a luncheon for Her Majesty Margareta, the Custodian of the Crown of Romania, and His Royal Highness Prince Radu of Romania at the Kalinga Satet. Also attending today's luncheon were Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden, Princess Christina, Mrs. Magnusson, and her husband, Mr. Tord Magnusson. Her Majesty Margareta and Prince Radu are visiting Stockholm on the occasion of Sweden's presidency of the Council of the European Union. Last evening, the royal couple attended the opening of an exhibition by Romanian artist Ms. Dorina Mocan, held at the Romanian Cultural Institute in Stockholm. In Madrid, Her Highness Hereditary Princess Cleo of Oettingen-Spielberg graces the cover of the latest fashion edition of HOLA Haute-Couture and Pret-a-Porter with the caption, quote, Haute Couture Princess, who poses in dreamy designs, is pregnant with her third child, end quote. In Belgrade, Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Katherine of Serbia hosted a ladies' luncheon on the occasion of International Women's Day at the White Palace. In Salisbury, Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales visited the 1st Battalion Irish Guards for the first time since becoming colonel at the Salisbury Plain Training Area. During her visit, the princess heard about the work the Irish Guards carry out. And finally, in London, Her Majesty the Queen Consort of the United Kingdom hosted a reception at Buckingham Palace on the occasion of International Women's Day. According to Buckingham Palace, guests in attendance included, quote, inspiring women from across society, from entrepreneurs to athletes to entertainers and authors, end quote. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow on Thursday, March 9th, with all the latest royal news. Until then, I wish you all a wonderful evening and a great day tomorrow. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, take care, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.